Welcome back to the Surrey Report for September. I'm here today with Marylou Leslie, a realtor in our Macdonald Realty office. And we're not going to be talking about anything glamorous today. It's going to be stuff you need to know.
Oh, absolutely.
All about estates. We're starting to see lots of vacant properties. We're starting to see the boomers are getting on, going into homes. So this is not going to be fun, but it's going to be stuff you absolutely need to know. But let's get to the fun stuff first. And here's the team with our update for September.
Starting off with condos, our benchmark price is right around $426,000. Our year-over-year numbers show us an 8.4% loss. Well, we look at the month-over-month numbers and it looks fairly flat.
And in townhouses, benchmark price is hovering around $567,000. That's a 0.4% increase month over month, and it's the second month that we've seen an increase, but year over year, we're still down about 5%.
And moving into our detached market, our benchmark price is right around $1,047,000. That's a 0.5% loss month over month and a 5.3% loss year over year.
All right, just like last month, I have set up some questions here for Marylou and I to discuss. It's never fun to discuss aging parents.
No, but
Marylou,
it's fact of life.
Grandparents, all these things that we have to worry about going on, and we're seeing so much of it. I know you had some vacant properties lately.
Yes.
Earlier in the year, we had 9 listings, and 8 of them were vacant, or the people had moved on. So we're going to address them here. Hopefully, this is of some value to you guys. The first question I had: my parents or grandparents are going into a home or aging in year. Should they get into the place they're going to first, or should we sell the home first?
It's best to put them into a home that suits their needs, because as they age, they have specific needs. Okay. And it's not always easy to find that and satisfy that. So that is absolutely mandatory. The home will sell. That's not a concern, but finding the appropriate home for them is.
Okay. And we often find that if people are going into assisted government housing, your retirement homes, that it does take some time. So if you sell the home, mom and dad might even be moving in with you in advance.
Yes, and at that age, it's not something that they acclimatize to easily. Okay. So just minimize the disruption to their life.
Okay, so let's say mom and dad or grandma and grandpa are getting forgetful, let's say. Can I sign on their behalf if I'm the child?
Steve, you know better.
Hey, I'm asking questions for our guys that
you know better. Okay. Anybody who signs a contract has to have capacity.
Absolutely.
And as realtors, we have to be responsible for that. So the best way for an adult child or another spouse, to deal with that is to have an enduring power of attorney.
Yes.
And an enduring power of attorney, as opposed to just a plain power of attorney, basically covers the relationship of that individual while they're well and when they're not well.
And when they're not, yeah. So even if they get sick, go into the home, somebody can take care of
Yes, whoever has the power of
needs.
attorney, they still have the authority to carry out their wishes.
Yes, and we recommend that everyone, I've had power of attorney over my parents for ever and ever, as long as I can remember. My wife and I over each other. Someone should have the ability to take care of your affairs.
Life can change instantly, and you never know when that's going to happen.
Absolutely. Okay, let's get to a little different scenario.
Okay.
Parents are living together, or grandparents, whatever age you want to go,
Yep.
and one of them passes away.
Unfortunately, it happens, and their relationship on title will be as joint tenants. And when that happens, the surviving spouse is the only one who's left on title.
Exactly. So there's 2 ways to register a property.
Correct.
Tenants in common and joint tenants.
Yeah.
Most married couples register as joint tenants, which means you both, much like a marriage, you own everything 100%,
Yes.
as opposed to tenants in common where you could own 1% of the house or
Correct.
not.
Correct.
And if you do it by tenants in common, then you would have to go through the steps of a partnership or anything else. It wouldn't just go to
Yes, because
other
those
person being
tenants
owned.
in common, they have their own estates. So rather than have that interest flow over to the other surviving partner, it now goes down to the estate.
And through probate, which is our next question. What is probate?
Probate, in the province of BC, when you're selling a property, you must go through the probate process. And what probate does is it takes the title from on the property from the individual who's passed to allowing you to sell it and pass that title on to the buyer.
Yes.
It's mandatory in BC, and it's something that it's a fairly lengthy process. It can be complicated.
I just checked with my lawyer this week, and we're 3 to 6 months. 3 months is like best case scenario for probate. And I always explain probate as basically the courts need to clear up someone who's passed on's estate.
All their affairs.
Of their affairs. And the probate is the name for that process. So you have to achieve probate in order to clear everything off.
Interestingly as well, you can't sell the property unless you have probate. Yes. Because you can't pass title.
Absolutely.
So the sooner you get that, because money is, obviously it's costing somebody money, the family money, and as soon as you can get that cleared up and enable you, the family, to move on and get that property sold, it's obviously better for everybody.
Okay, so who deals with that sale? Let's say, Grandpa passed away years and years and years ago. Now Grandma's just in the property, and she passes. Who deals with the sale of that property?
Hopefully, Grandma has a will.
Yes.
Hopefully, Grandma has a will. And if anything that we have to say about it, she will.
Yeah.
But the executor of her estate is the one who will be looking after her affairs, carrying out her wishes that are in the will.
And that's defined in the will.
That's identified in the will and
Okay.
agreed upon beforehand. So that is the role of the executor or executrix if it's a daughter. And it's a process that can be very weighty, and it's not something to be taken lightly, but it's an important process, and it's mandatory that whoever takes it on do it correctly as per the law.
And the executor can do that on their own and achieve probate on their own, or most people end up getting a lawyer involved because this isn't something we're doing every day.
That's true, and it's a complicated process, and it all depends on how quickly you need to move on with the affairs,
Yes.
and how simple you want your life to be during this process.
And if you have someone that's passed on that's had lots of investments and owned lots of property, it's become quite even having more kids.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people that can contest wills. There's all sorts
absolutely,
of stuff
absolutely.
that goes on.
Yeah.
So that brings us to our last question. If someone does now pass on and there is no will, now what?
The law is very clear on that. The next of kin or the spouse, the surviving spouse, who is the next of kin as per the law, will have to go to court and be appointed as administrator. That role of administrator is the same role as an executor, carrying out the disposal of all the assets and paying income tax, the final income tax, all that sort of stuff. The downside of that situation is it carrying out the wishes of the person who's deceased? Often it's not.
Okay.
And secondly, there's other members of the family. They may feel that they're not being treated, which translates to getting enough money correctly, and they can dispute that and challenge that.
And something that we often see is actually where there's multiple executors. And that can actually get things. I mean, if everybody is on board, let's say there's 4 brothers and sisters, and everybody's together, that's fine. But if you have that 1 or 2 brothers and sisters where there's fighting, or it really can get messy. So we always do say, put that person in your as the executor on your will, who you think is going to represent your estate best.
Absolutely, and who can best handle the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else you can think of that our people need to know?
I don't think so. If there's any questions on this, obviously phone Steve or phone myself on the team.
So how can they get a hold of you?
Yes, well, just the phone number, I don't have it.
Macdonald Realty is 604-590-2444.
Senior moment.
I'm sure you have a website.
I do, absolutely. MarylouLeslieTeam.com.
There you go. And I am Steve Karrasch of Chris Whitehead and Associates. Thanks so much for
You're more
coming
than
on
welcome.
the Surrey Report. See you next month.
You bet.
If you found this informative, please go back and watch our video featuring accountant Jimmy Lee Tang. We got a chance to sit down with him and talk about all things real estate and taxes. Thanks so much for watching this month, and we'll see you next month on the Surrey Report.